All right, Up Top
Up
Podcast.
top, up top. Welcome back. Welcome in.
back. Yes, it's your boy Ste-Mo.
And it's your boy Shaun Spacely.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to that segment of the college football and the playoff rankings and how these teams are rising up.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
this is episode 1, season 5, Rising Up.
Rising up.
You done know, all right? So definitely want to go ahead and get into the next segment here, and that is the National Football League. Man, it's been so much been going on in NFL Spacely. So much has been happening. I mean, we're already past halfway of the season, and we're seeing teams that are hot right now and rising up.
Yes,
And
sir.
we're seeing teams that are being cold and falling down.
Just dropping. They're rising down.
Yep.
Stuff. I
Yep.
don't even know you could do that, but they're rising down.
Yeah, and I mean, especially now in the NFL, you know, obviously, there are players that are going to want to figure out a way to win a Super Bowl because obviously the main hot team right now that we all see that are defending Super Bowl champs is the Kansas City Chiefs, who obviously are 11-1,
Yes, sir.
and they're just finding a way to win games.
Which I'm finding very, very hard to believe because it's like they never won the Super Bowl. The way they're playing right now
Yeah.
is as if this is their first ever Super Bowl run.
Mhm.
Like they're trying to win one for the organization for the very first time.
Yeah, yeah,
Because these guys are beating up on everyone. But I mean, don't get me wrong, you got a lot of other teams that are trying to knock them down,
facts.
including, for example, your Eagles star who are 9-2 right now.
Mhm.
And they're rising up. They're on the 7-game win streak, so they're on a very
Fly,
nice
Eagles fly.
ride. So you know they got them to deal with. Not to mention you got the up and coming Bills who are on a 6-game win streak as well too. They're also 9-2.
Yeah,
So you know there's a few teams out there that are trying to, they're trying to knock down the Chiefs. They're trying to knock them up. And I feel like the number one team that might do that is the Detroit Lions.
ooh,
Because they're also 11-1.
Detroit, man, they are having a successful season. Like Spacey just said, 11-1. I mean, they are playing like they really want it. And remember now, they were a team that had a chance to get to the Super Bowl last season. They almost beat the 49ers to get to the Super Bowl. And I'm sure they would have gave the Chiefs also a run as well.
For sure.
So,
for sure.
Interesting enough, the Detroit Lions right now, as the playoffs started, they are the number 1 seed right behind the Philadelphia Eagles. And Minnesota Vikings as well start.
Interesting.
9-2. They actually have been playing. I mean, in that division, it's tough because you have not only the Lions, but you have also the Vikings and the Green Bay Packers. And those 3 teams alone are going to make the playoffs. It's going to be interesting who actually gets the better seeding. And, you know, of course, we want to see exactly how this plays out because they're all hot teams.
Yes.
And they all want to find a way to get to the Super Bowl. But they're also the not so hot team, Spacely. And I mean, you could go ahead and share with us who is really not rising up.
Ooh, man, there's quite a few that are rising down. For example, Stephen A. loves to laugh at them, he loves to hate them, and he loves to make fun of them when they are down. And we got to talk about America's team,
Yikes.
the Dallas Cowboys. Once again, they are giving their fans another roller coaster of emotions. They are currently sitting at 5-7, and they're trying to figure out, can they still salvage the rest of the season?
Ugh.
I highly doubt it, but hey, just like all Cowboy fans, y'all love to have hope, so we'll see. Now, another team that is really, really rising down, that really should reconsider their options and figure out why they did what they did, was the New York Giants. Who told them to get rid of not only their meal ticket and the one that put butts in the stands, but the only weapon their quarterback had in Saquon Barkley? Because not only did you help another team get themselves more prepared and equipped for the postseason, but you put yourselves now at 2-10.
Interesting you just said the New York Giants, Spacely, because interesting enough, they not only got rid of their meal ticket, Saquon Barkley, who's playing lights out MVP right now for the Philadelphia Eagles, but they released Daniel Jones, their quarterback, who they decided to keep instead of Saquon Barkley. And they paid him over $100 million for him to stay for a longer period of time for him to now be released because of the team's success. And he just actually signed with the Minnesota Vikings, so he's on a contending playoff team now for a year. But it just goes to show you that the New York Giants clearly was not rising up at all this season. They tried to pick up Malik Neighbors, who was their rookie receiver, and he's obviously frustrated because now clearly I don't have a quarterback to actually throw me the ball. And on top of that, their running game is not the same without Saquon. So their defense is not as good. And honestly, yeah, the record speaks for themselves.
Thank you. So it just goes to show you that even with everything that they have done, you would have thought they would have at least would have kept their quarterback to at least salvage their season. But once they released him, it just goes to show you New York doesn't have what it takes right now to rise up this season.
Yikes.
And I feel bad for the Bears. The Bears have also been rising down. They've had many a times this season so far, Ste-Mo, that they could have won games over many 500 teams.
Yeah.
They had many opportunities to seal the deal, but instead, I don't know how. I guess the football gods still have not forgiven Chicago.
Yeah, it's very disappointing to see, a team, especially with talent, especially knowing that they had the number one draft pick to be able to go ahead and say, hey, we're picking up a Heisman Trophy winner to be able to lead us to be able to win football games. And because of not having, the right coach to be able to help this rookie quarterback by the name of Caleb Williams to be able to go ahead and progress each and every week to show that, hey, I am your franchise guy, it just proves to me that the Chicago Bears was rising down from the beginning of the season. Yes, they picked up key caliber offensive talent, and they still didn't get the job done. And of course, we all saw what happened on that Thanksgiving game. They clearly had a chance to win the game against the Lions, and because the coach did not call a timeout with 30-something seconds left, they did not actually win the game. They decided to go ahead and let the clock just run out, and boom, lose the game literally by 2 points because all they needed really was a field goal and decided not to. But guess what? Now they actually decided to go ahead and fire their head coach. So the Bears clearly now are rising down even more because now they have to find a new head coach.
So it just goes to show you, up top fans, that some days you can rise up and some days you can rise down.
Facts.
So up top fans, we want to hear, is your team rising up? Or unfortunately, your team took an unnecessary chill pill and they're rising down because, as you can see, playoffs is drawing near.
Yes.
The lots are being drawn and the seeds are being set. Kansas City, once again, has already punched their ticket. So now, who is next to take that next step, punch their ticket in, and see who is going to take down the defending champions?
Yep. And of course, we want to go ahead and make sure we give you guys obviously the latest schedule and, scores that's been going on. And as you could tell, we're in week 13 right now of the NFL. Like literally it's a couple more weeks to go before the playoffs start. And we want to see how these teams are rising up and going into the playoffs. And then the teams that obviously are going to be eliminated, like the New York Giants already is. So obviously, you can see here the Lions beat the Bears by 3, 23-20. Obviously, the Bears clearly just didn't want to win, and their record speaks for themselves. The Cowboys beat the New York Giants, which clearly, that game didn't matter to any team. Both of them may not even get to the playoffs, but hey, something had to give. And then the Green Bay Packers, who, again, I said are in a tight division with the Lions and the Vikings, they beat the Miami Dolphins, who we thought, again, was rising up like how they did last season, and they've now been rising down as a 5-7 team. So it's very unfortunate, to see these teams that were really so good last season not that good this season. And as you can see, the Super Bowl defending champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, is finding ways to win. They beat the Raiders 19-17. So it's just interesting to see, Spacely, like we know that NFL is a not-for-long league. And I remember talking to, of course, our boy Tsunami, shout out to Tsunami, about how these players and teams are not actually giving their all. But when it comes down to, I want the bag, I got to go ahead and prove it out there so I can continue to maintain my level of greatness.
I agree, Ste-Mo. I agree. But that's what a lot of the players do nowadays. A lot of the players see what that bag could be, and then they start to backpedal. You start hearing the famous taking days off. We start hearing the famous load management.
Yep.
And a lot of players don't understand. The money isn't coming from thin air. The money is coming from us, the fans.
Yeah.
So we pay to see you play. We get up every Sunday, diehard fans, and we go out, put on our gear. We put your name on, we put the team on, we go out to the stands, and we do what we do best,
Facts.
which is cheer our team on to victory.
Facts.
So the least you could do as a player is show up for us, the fans. That's all we ask for.
That is true. Like that's the whole purpose of you going to a game, to see your team win. And it's a very unfortunate, like, especially now, and we're ending off the NFL season, that a lot of these players are just saying to myself, like, hey, I want to make the Pro Bowl. I want to actually get incentives to be able to say, hey, I need to break records this season. So my team might not be as good, but I need to rise up as a player. And I want to continue to show that I have the potential to make it in the league for a long period of time.
That's right.
So as you guys here at Up Top Podcast, we want to just go ahead and give you our predictions on this upcoming season schedule. This is week 13, and we're going to go ahead right into it. The Chargers and the Falcons play. The Chargers right now are 7-4, and the Falcons are 6-5. The Falcons clearly are not a team that we thought that were going to be as good this season, but they're trying to prove it time and time again. But I feel like the Chargers have the advantage. They have to win, obviously, after losing that Monday night game against the Ravens last week, actually. And, I feel like they're going to win, Spacely. What you think about the Bengals and the Steelers?
Ooh, the Bengals and the Steelers are going to be an interesting game as well, Ste-Mo, because at the end of the day, they need to show everyone they got what it takes to win. If they can show everyone what it takes to win, then who knows?
Yeah.
They might just turn around and prove everybody wrong.
Yeah.
Same thing, but for me, the game that I'm looking forward to seeing the most as well is also our people over there, your boys. The Battle of the Birds. The Battle of the Birds.
Yes.
That is going to be a game.
Yes. As you guys can see, obviously, while we're showing you guys the schedule of this Sunday, the Eagles and the Ravens, man, I can tell you that this could be a real good playoff game, Spacely. Two teams that are battling to make sure that, hey, they can tell that, hey, we are ready to get to the Super Bowl. And we know that the Eagles really want to get there this year. Again, me being a fan, seeing the success that they're having this season and seeing that, again, they're playing teams that they want to show the world that they have what it takes. And they have that chemistry again. Remember, they started off as 10-1 last season, Spacely. They actually collapsed after that loss against the 49ers, and it wasn't the same because of the offensive coordinator and the coach not on the same page. But now they have new coaches and new coordinators, new players like Saquon, and they're rising up right now. The Baltimore Ravens, obviously, they got to the AFC Championship game and choked against the Kansas City Chiefs. Lamar Jackson, he's the defending MVP. He has to prove that he actually wants to get back to that realm of getting to play Kansas City and having the opportunity to beat Patrick Mahomes. So obviously this game is going to be a battle with the quarterbacks. Obviously great running back play between Saquon and Derrick Henry, but I got to go with my Eagles on this one.
Oh, I already know it, Ste-Mo. I already know it. So that is going to be the game there, Up Top fans, for sure. Besides a few who are going to be really well, including the Chargers, I believe the biggest game that we will see for Week 13 will be the Battle of the Birds, the Eagles, and the Ravens.
Yep. So, of course, we definitely want to make sure here at Up Top we get your predictions. Who do you think is going to win this week of Week 13 of the NFL? Again, there are teams that are rising up and there are teams that are falling down. And a lot of teams are falling down maybe to have a better draft pick. Who knows? But moving forward, we obviously want to make sure to see how these teams are actually having what it takes to get to the next level and to who can beat the Kansas City Chiefs at this point because they've won 2 Super Bowls already. The Kansas City Chiefs find ways to win. I don't know how, but they find ways to win. And we just want to see which team has the potential to beat them.
That's true. Who do you think, Up Top fans? Do you think your team has what it takes to beat the the Super Bowl defending champs?
Yeah.
Or do you think that there is a dark horse out there that we have mentioned that might just have the keys to taking down Patrick Mahomes?
Yes, and Buffalo Bills, they actually just beat the Chiefs last week. That was a big key game for them. Josh Allen, obviously, he's having a great year. So it's interesting enough. Can the Bills have a chance to beat the Chiefs? Or can the Ravens have a chance to beat the Chiefs? Those two teams obviously want that chance to get to that Lombardi trophy. So it'll be interesting in the AFC because it's going to be tight, but the NFC is going to be even tighter.
Yes.
Because I know for sure Detroit wants to keep that number 1 seed.
Oh, without question. I highly doubt they're going to give up any more games, especially since they've had this record since the Matthew Stafford and Megatron days. They haven't had such a great record, let alone a chance for them to clinch their division and potentially put themselves in the driver's seat for home field advantage.
Facts. And again, they played phenomenal throughout last season. You know, it's just they're getting better and better. I can tell, you know, they're picking up where they left off. Their coach is really keeping these guys encouraged. So the Detroit Lions, for sure, have what it takes to get there as well. And, I mean, if anything, if they play the Chiefs, I literally would like to see them beating the Kansas City Chiefs. But
for sure,
we'll see. You know, again, it's a long season. It's going to be a battle. And we want to definitely get your thoughts and feedback on who do you think which team is actually having what it takes to rise up to win the Super Bowl this season.
Yes, sir. So here we are, Up Top Podcast. Let us know what you think. It's Season 5, Episode 1.
Yes, sir. Up Top with Say. It's your boy Ste-Mo.
And it's your boy Shaun Spacely.
All right. And here we are, Up Top Podcast, Episode 1, Rising Up. So stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and make sure to give you also the latest news going into our next segment. And that is actually going to be the National Basketball Association. So stay tuned. It's your boy Ste-Mo.
And it's your boy Shaun Spacely.
Up Top with Say.
All right, Up Top with Say.
Up Top Podcast.
Welcome back. Season 5, Episode 1. It's Rising Up. We're rising to the top.
Up Top with Say.
It's your boy Shaun Spacely.
It's your boy Ste-Mo.
Thank you all for tuning on in. Thank you all for listening down to our segments. We thank you for listening to our previous 2. Now we're getting ready for our new podcast, new segment, which is our NBA segment. So now, as you can see, just like Star showing you, everybody's rising up to the top. We have a lot of players right now. We have a lot of teams right now, Ste-Mo, that I'm not going to lie to you, are doing pretty well. A lot of them are rising up, and some are rising down.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the Cleveland Cavaliers are on a historic run. They are rising up right now.
Yes, they are.
Their franchise is on a rise of 17 games. It hasn't been like this since even with the LeBron era. LeBron has done some pretty amazing things for the Cleveland Cavaliers, but he has yet to dock one of those great regular season runs like what they're having right now. Shout out to Donovan Mitchell. Shout out to that boy Josh Allen. Shout out to Narland. Them boys over there in Cleveland, they're doing their thing. We look forward to seeing them continue to rise on up. Another team that's really doing well, that's really rising on up, that I must admit, because they were doing bad in the beginning, is the Bucks. The Bucks have really been rising up. They were down bad in the beginning. And as you can see, they've been on a 5-game win streak, so they've been rising to the top. Giannis is feeling better again. Dame is feeling better again. So who knows? Those boys might keep on rising on up to the point where they're knocking on the door to either being number 1 or number 2 in the East. Now, some teams that are doing well in the West as well, too. Shout out to them young boys over there in Oklahoma.
Ooh.
Shout out to Shea. Shout out to Williams. Shout out to Chet. Shout out to that boy Dort. Dort don't get enough love over there either. He may not be a household name like Chet and Shea, but I promise you, give him time. He's one of the greatest backup players I've ever seen. If FGA need a bucket or a rebound in a big way, he going to throw it to that big boulder down there named Lucas Dort, and Dort going to get them a bucket. So they're doing well sitting at 15-4. So, you know, they're pretty rising up as well, too. Another team in the West that just shook me, the Rockets.
Wow.
They are sitting at 2nd place.
Wow.
With a record of 14-6.
Amazing, Spacely. No one thought Houston was going to be rising up like this. They're actually playing great basketball, from Fred VanVleet to Jalen Green to Sengun, who's a double-double machine. I mean, yeah, Houston, obviously, they did the right things, get the right young players, the veterans that are on the team, and their record speaks for itself.
And you see it out there, Up Top fans, like, it speaks for itself. Now, There are a couple teams that I must admit I am pretty shocked that they are rising down. But then at the same time, this is the National Basketball Association, aka the National Business Association. So everything is a business at the end of the day. For example, 76ers star. Who would have thought a team with star-studded talent like Paul George, like Joel Embiid, like Maxey, just to name a few, would be in the position that they're in right now? How you feel about that, Steve? The once playoff contending Philadelphia 76ers are now currently sitting at the 14th seed in the East.
Ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you, as to see the trust the process not being processed at all, it just goes to show you that there was no process at all.
No.
And the Philadelphia 76ers, they clearly are rising down. Joel Embiid, I'm sorry, but man, like, come on. Like, you can't even play a full healthy of 82 games. Paul George, you cannot do the same. Tyrese Maxey is their only guy that can actually try to win a game, to be honest. And it's sad to say because Paul George was hoping to be the missing piece to be able to get to the level from replacing Tobias Harris. However, they are not playing good basketball, and it shows for themselves that they are not ready to compete in the Eastern Conference.
Yep.
We thought they were going to do well, especially when James Harden was there, and we really thought they were going to do well when, they actually had a better coach at the time. And now Nick Nurse, he's not proving it. Like, you're not showing what it takes to help make these young players win games. And they got good veteran leadership, obviously. Kyle Lowry, who won an NBA title with Nick Nurse, but the chemistry is still not there with the other players. Jared McCain, who is their rookie sensation, he can only do his own part. But as you can look at these teams and looking at how you would think that of all teams are going to be good, the 76ers as well as the Chicago Bulls, who are barely hanging on. I mean, even Indiana Pacers, the team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals to play against the Boston Celtics, they're at 9-11. So at this point, they're not rising up at all, Spacely.
Not at all. You're right about that, Ste-Mo. Teams that last year were making true playoff runs, making true playoff marks, were letting people know, okay, these teams have what it takes. They have postseason caliber. This season, I don't know what's happening, Ste-Mo. And we're getting up to the Christmas break at that. If they keep this up, All-Star break is not going to look very too good for them.
Man.
Same thing over there in the West. One team that has really shocked me that I did not believe would be under 500 right now, Ant-Man and the Wolves. I am really, really shocked. I can't say disappointed. I'm more shocked because a lot of other teams have been rising up, including the Clippers. The Clippers have rose up, especially after losing Paul George and only keeping James Harden. James Harden shows why. If he's the leader, if he has all the keys to a team,
right,
they're going to rise. James Harden is a rise-up player.
Yep,
he heard it here, folks.
And it's interesting enough how the tables have turned. James Harden is playing for the Clippers, who used to play for the 76ers, and Paul George has left the Clippers to play for the 76ers. So, interesting enough, they got to play last season together, and it didn't work out, but the record speaks for itself.
Exactly.
The Clippers are actually playing better basketball than the 76ers. And in the West, it's very interesting enough to see another team that has been rising up, and that is obviously the Memphis Grizzlies, who obviously took a toll last season on injuries because of Ja Morant and his situation, but they're playing good basketball. They actually got Ja back healthy. They got their guy Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., and they got a nice rookie named Zach Edey. With the core guys that they also have, on their bench, I mean, it goes to show you the Memphis Grizzlies are rising up, Spacely.
You're not lying there, Steve-Mo. The Memphis Grizzlies have shown when you have a healthy Ja, when you have a healthy Triple J, they are a problem to deal with in the West. They are sitting at 13-7 right now.
5-game winning streak, Spacely.
5-game rise up that they've had since Ja has been playing fully healthy and a lot more minutes.
Wow.
Shout out to that boy Eddie, the rookie coming out of Purdue, because he is showing you why. If you build a rookie, he will produce on the floor. No pun intended.
Yep.
But he will definitely produce out there, because at the end of the day, they needed that extra help for Jaren Jackson Jr., and they found it in Zach Edey.
Yes.
That boy Edey out there is showing you why. If you put investment, it'll come out in a big return.
And remember, the Grizzlies did have Steven Adams as their as their main guy. So for him to leave, he's now playing with the Rockets. They traded him over to the Rockets, who obviously now you see the impact that they're made. But it's interesting enough, the Memphis Grizzlies said, hey, we can get a potential star player by Zach Edey, who actually was a double-double machine in college, and now he's transitioning into the league. But he's also helping out Ja Morant, and the Grizzlies are actually proving that they actually belong in the Western Conference contention.
Hey, yo, Pat Riley, Pat, can you talk to Houston, please? Because I told you on our podcast, you should have picked up Steve Adams when he was dirt cheap. Because proof is in the pudding. Steve Adams is a rise-up player.
And yeah, you just said it right there, Spacely. Like, we know, of course, we're Heat fans, and we want to see, obviously, the Miami Heat get third. Now, they're obviously doing decent. They're over 500 as a 9-8 team, but there still needs to be more work to be done.
Yes, sir.
I mean, they obviously drafted their guy, Khalil Ware, as the center. However, it's going to take some years for him to develop, to rise up his skills, and to help out Bam as hopefully starting caliber center.
But he has what it takes. I must admit that. Khalil Ware is showing you that when he comes off the bench, he's a great rookie to put on the floor. He offers great space for us down there on the block, which in turn gives Bam an extra opportunity to work on that mid-range, that footer that he loves, and that elbow jump shot. But for us, what we need him to do, which I know he will in the future, space out the floor.
Facts.
Which in turn will give our boy, Buzzcut Hero, a chance to keep doing what he's doing.
Yep.
Shout out to Buzzcut Hero. I must admit, you are proving to everyone, sir, that you deserve to stay and why we did what we did.
Facts.
The past few games, you've been dropping a few 40 balls. You've been rising up as a player yourself, sir.
Shout out to Tyler Hero stepping up, especially, in the absence of Jimmy not being able to play certain games. But, for him to actually go ahead and say, hey, man, like, I was a sixth man before. I know what it takes. I've been to the finals twice. I know that, my contract is definitely now proving myself that I am a hopefully all-star level caliber player. And for him now to play at that level with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, hopefully he can continue to rise up and heat up.
Exactly. Because we need to rise up and we need to scorch some of our opponents for sure.
So, yeah, definitely let us know your thoughts and feelings on which team is really rising up right now. I mean, the NBA In-Cup tournament space. Talk about that. Like,
now, tell me about a game. That game right there, wow. Enough said. Wow, we're just going to give you a brief standing over here for everyone.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Just look at it right here. Wow.
Yep.
As you can see, a lot of teams are trying their utmost best to punch in that one last ticket. As you can already see, we have different teams. First and foremost in the Eastern group. We're going to start with Group A over here in the East. As you can see, Orlando and New York are holding it down very much well. They're trying to secure themselves. They just need one more game apiece to clinch themselves into the spot. Now, you got the Bucks who are, like I said before, are rising up. They're even rising up even in our NBA Cup standings, and they hold down their group play at number 1, right behind with Detroit. Now, Star, how do you feel the way Group C and Group C is playing? Because as you can see, Atlanta is the first one to punch their ticket.
Very interesting. That is an interesting group right there by itself because, Cleveland Cavaliers are the best record in the NBA. But in the In-Cup space, they're not doing as good. They're obviously losing games in the In-Cup against Atlanta and Boston. And Boston, obviously, they're the defending champ. So for them to be tied with Atlanta, they're going to possibly also advance. But it's interesting enough how, yes, Cleveland is 1 and 2 in that Group C. So they're obviously already eliminated. Now they have to focus on finishing off the rest of the season. And interesting enough, we're going to want to know how this is going to play out long term. So regardless of the fact, I see how Group A is actually going as well, and Houston is actually up. Portland is actually right behind them, but Minnesota is 2-2.
Right.
Talk to me about that, Spacely.
That's the part that has me a bit nervous and excited at the same time. Because at the end of the day, Ste-Mo, as you can see, if Minnesota can find a way to win or at least clinch a couple games, are they out of second place?
Ooh, they may be.
Could they, let's say, for example, Portland loses the next game to us, and then they go into the cup and lose a game as well.
Yikes.
Would that give Minnesota a chance to catch up?
It could possibly, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And man, especially like I said, Houston 3-0 in that group. And, going into Group B, it's very tight. San Antonio 2-1, Oklahoma City 2-1, and even the Phoenix Suns basically are 2-1. Very tight. Any one of these teams could have a chance to advance into that seeding. And then, of course, Group C, we got Golden State and Dallas most likely going to get into that next advanced round, but they already clinched. So it's interesting enough how these in-game Cup tournament season games are going, because there's a lot to prove into this in-game tournament. A lot to prove, and to show that, regardless of your record, it comes down to, are you ready to go and win to the next championship level?
Right. Are you prepared to turn your team into a championship dynasty? Because we know a few teams are still ready. Boston is trying to fully certify their legacy as an organization. We see Cleveland. Cleveland is trying their utmost best to carry on what LeBron had started for them all those years back. But you have some other teams who also are in that notion. You have Oklahoma. Oklahoma has always been to the big dance, but cannot seem to get over that hump.
Yep.
So they might have a shot. And of course, we all know Memphis was a shoulda, coulda, woulda team as of now, postseason wise. Because we all said, what would have happened if Ja would have never got injured?
Yeah.
Would they have made a deep run? Would they have not made a deep run? Same thing with the Warriors. Now that they're now one splash brother down, can they make a run without him? As you can see, they are rising without him.
Yep.
So can they maintain that level of dominance?
Yep.
Or are their Achilles heel going to show that missing out of Klay is?
Yeah, and that was a big transition for Klay Thompson to go to another team that, clearly he wanted to prove that he could still be that all-star Klay Thompson. And obviously, he's still in it. Obviously it's not the same as Golden State, but interesting enough, the Dallas Mavericks, once Luka stays healthy and they have Kyrie Irving, it'll be interesting how they are rising up. Remember, they actually are the Western Conference champions. So interesting enough, can they actually go ahead and get back to that level so they can actually have a chance to win the title?
You tell us, Up Top fans, how do you feel? With certain teams and the way players are playing now in the league, how do you feel the way the season is going right now? Do you think the season is rising up? Or do you feel that there's things the season could do that could rise up and increase the popularity of the NBA right now?
We love to hear your feedback. We love to hear your comments. Give us a like as well. But definitely we want to go ahead and gather ahead and let you guys know there's always going to be some good rising up legends.
Yes, right. That's right, Ste-Mo. We do have some legends that have now continued to rise even after putting down their sneakers from the game.
Yep.
So shout out to a few of them. For example, I know a lot of y'all go come for us, but I don't care. I'm going to defend him. Shout out to our Heat lifer, Mr. Dwayne Wade.
Yes.
Had his statue unveiling just a few days ago. Shout out to him.
Yep.
Leave our man alone and his statue. We understand, yes, the statue may look interesting in the face, yes, but it's nonetheless, it will always be there now and forever. Dwayne Wade statue right there at the Miami Heat arena. So come on out, come take pictures, come stand by it. You may not like his face, but it shall be there forever.
Yeah,
so
we had the pleasure to be there as Up Top was representing out there to witness, the statue reveal of Dwayne Wade. So, obviously, he had the support system, the love, and the appreciation of what he's done for not only the Miami Heat organization, but for the game of basketball. He is a Hall of Famer, top 75 player, and for the Heat to go ahead and do that by giving him a statue. I mean, we talked about it already on the past season, Spacely. Like, it was well deserved.
Well deserved.
Well deserved.
He did so much for us here in Miami. One, he took Miami from being a regular team in the season to making us a championship dynasty.
Facts.
He brought our very first championship in 2006 with the co-coach of Shaquille O'Neal. And then since then, he has been rising up.
Facts.
Multiple finals appearances, multiple all-star appearances, multiple accolades, multiple gold medals. The list can go on and on.
Yep. So we definitely want to continue to salute D Wade and continue to see, the greatness that he has after the game of basketball. So obviously another rising up legend that, obviously he should be considered maybe being a Hall of Famer. And he was one of the most explosive point guards in the game, won MVP. And unfortunately, he decided to go ahead and call it quits. And man, amazing athlete by the name of Derrick Rose, man. Shout out to D Rose. Derrick Rose, number 1 draft pick, Chicago Bulls. He has taken the time now to go ahead and do other things outside of the game of basketball. And he decided to retire. Memphis Grizzlies was his last team that he played for. It was interesting enough how he stayed committed to the love of the game. And regardless of his injuries, D Rose actually wanted to let the world know, man, like, hey, you could do anything you put your mind to. Wherever you're from, wherever you want to go in life, put your mind to it. And he did that.
I agree. D Rose left us nothing but a very emotional impression from the moment Chicago drafted him to the moment of his highlights, his spin moves, his 360s, even his famous dunk over then Phoenix Suns Steve Nash.
Yeah.
So he's left us with nothing but impressionable highlights. And in my opinion, that deserves at least a third ballot Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Because he's done so much for the game on and off the court. He proved to us after going through multiple surgeries, multiple injuries, to still giving us everything he had to that electrifying game that he scored for Minnesota to show us in that heartfelt interview that he gave us all in that game.
Yes.
So shout out to D Rose. Your career is well earned, sir, well deserved, and we look forward to what you're going to do for us outside of the game of basketball as an aficionado.
And speaking on the side of the Memphis Grizzlies, another NBA veteran that decided to call it quits. I mean, he played phenomenal. He was probably one of your favorite 2K players on the video games, but I mean, phenomenal career. He may not be Hall of Fame worthy, but he definitely stayed consistent, and that's no other than Rudy Gay. He also retired this past season, and he gave 17 years of his life into the league. Man, that's impressive.
It is. Very much so, because he gave majority of it to Sacramento, and then he bounced around a few teams afterwards, and then eventually retired as a Grizzly.
Yep.
But Rudy Gay was definitely electrifying forward for us in the NBA.
High flyer, man. In them dunk contests, I remember.
For sure.
And, great legend at UConn. Obviously he wanted to prove that he can actually play in the next level, and he did that. And, he made sure that, hey, he called it a successful career, regardless of him not winning a title.
Oh, for sure. But speaking of someone who was a high flyer as well, we have to say the man, the myth, Mr. Air Up There, Mr. How Does It Taste in the Sky, Mr. Carter. That's right. Number 15,
yes,
Vince
sir.
Carter. The Toronto Raptors did him well by shouting him out that night, giving him a well-deserved veterans ovation because
well said,
he gave it to Toronto. Toronto gave him their life, and he gave his life to Toronto. We wouldn't be Raptors fans today. We wouldn't be so ecstatic when someone jumps in the sky and hits that jam if it wasn't for that man.
Yes.
Mr. Vince Carter.
Man, we can share so much stories about the legend himself, Vince Carter, for spending so long in the league, over 20 years, dedicated half of his life into the game of basketball. And for him to now get that recognition from Toronto to retire his jersey, incredible. And I mean, that was a beautiful way for them to show the love that they have. He's the first Raptor to get his jersey retired, even after, they had won a championship for the first time, just to see how Toronto Raptors basketball started. And for him to go ahead and make the impact, by giving out so much highlight films of being a Toronto Raptor. And we all can remember the slam dunk contest. That was the whole rising up for Vince Carter, for him to go ahead and go through between the legs and also the windmill and you name it. Vince Carter was the high flyer. And of course, he changed his game after a while. He had some injuries, but he made sure to stay consistent. And he played for the New Jersey Nets. He played for other teams as well. And, to end his career off in that fashion, man, salute to Vince Carter.
Salute out there to you, Mr. High Flyer.
Well said. And he's also from Florida, so he had
Florida
to represent.
Boy. Florida boy, shout out. So we let y'all know. So y'all Florida boys understand. If you need someone for inspiration as a Hall of Famer and as a legend, look further than the two cousins in Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady.
Sir.
Two Florida boys who gave us everything. One of them does have a championship. So at the end of the day, it does prove to you, Florida boys, if y'all want to hoop, go out there and hoop.
Yep.
Go out there and hoop.
Yeah, man. Anything you put your mind to, you can accomplish. So remember also, that regardless of, him not winning a championship, he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame as well.
Sure.
And
for sure.
He really played a big factor, for him, as well as I believe Chauncey Billups.
Yes, sir.
Became a Hall of Famer as well. So big shout out to him. He's a coach still for the Portland Trailblazers. And, again, it's outside of what you do with basketball, Spacely. So the impact you guys make, especially with whatever you guys decide to do in life, we want to continue to keep you guys encouraged. So here, definitely at Up Top Podcast, we want to continue to see you guys rise up as well.
Exactly. Keep it up top with it. So now, who do you feel, fans, deserves the next statue? You see us over here at Heat Nation. Dwayne Wade's sitting pretty with his statue. Kobe has his statue in L.A.
I heard rumors, though, Spacely, Mr. Pat Riley will be getting a statue as well for the Los Angeles Lakers. Our own Pat Riley will be getting one. They actually confirmed it with the Lakers organization. So it'll be very impressive to see not only a player to get a statue, but now a head coach
as well. So now, as you can see, over here in Heat Nation, we are definitely rising up.
Yes, sir.
So now, who do you think deserves under the statue? Now, fans, outside of LeBron, because we all know LeBron deserves his own city.
Yep.
LeBron deserves his own state. LeBron deserves his own gym. He deserves his own country at some point. And he deserves everything. So a statue, that's one thing we already know is in the works. We're not asking LeBron. Outside of your current GOAT, which is LeBron James, who do you think will deserve another statue?
Facts.
In my opinion, you guys are going to laugh, but you're going to see it might come up in the future. Luka the Don. If Luka doesn't get a statue in Memphis, in Dallas first, Dirk will.
Facts.
Dirk deserves his statue. That leaning fader is the reason why Dallas has always been the great Dallas Mavericks over there versus the San Antonio and the Houston Rockets. But let's see, Up Top fans, who do you think deserves another statue? Let us know in the comments below. And also, who do you think, coach-wise, that has done so much for the game, deserves a statue as well? Let us know.
Let us know, y'all. And we definitely look forward to hearing your feedback for sure. So, we definitely look forward to seeing how the rest of this NBA season goes, Spacely.
Oh, for sure.
So many more games to be played. So many more teams that are ready to actually get to the top and some teams that may not get there. But we definitely look forward to having a successful NBA season. So here at Up Top Podcast, we definitely thank you guys for taking the time to listen to this segment. And then, of course, we're going to go ahead and end it off with our last part, and that's our motivational quote. You already know we've been doing it from season 1, and we want you guys to continue to stay inspired here. So this is your boy Ste-Mo.
And it's your boy Shaun Spacely.
All right, Up Top Podcast, season 5, episode 1, Rising Up. Up top, we said.
Up top. All right, what's up? Up top.
Up Top Podcast.
Up top, it's your boy Shaun Spacely.
And it's your boy Ste-Mo.
We appreciate y'all for tuning on in. We appreciate y'all for making it towards the end. So since you're here, if you're not following us on YouTube, please do check us out on YouTube. Like and subscribe, share, Tell your brother, tell your uncle, tell your best friend. We got more in store.
Up top with Sad.
So you know it. Also, we appreciate y'all for tuning on towards the end. And just like every season, how we end it, we got to drop you guys off with a little motivational quote.
Yep.
Because we got to keep you guys motivated to go throughout the week, throughout the month, and throughout the year.
Say less, Spacely.
What you got for them, Ste-Mo?
Man, it's impressive to be inspired every single time you go ahead and prepare for the next opportunity. And here at Up Top Podcast, we always want to make sure we give you the latest inspirational quotes. And this is episode 1 of Rising Up, season 5. I must say, Spacely, we have been rising up.
Yes, we have.
So we just want to continue to keep you guys motivated and continue to follow your dreams. Speaking of dreams, I have a motivational quote by the latest Naomi Osaka, great tennis player, is very successful. And she said, dreams don't have to just be dreams. You can make it a reality if you just push it, keep trying, and then eventually you'll reach your goal. And if it takes a few years, then that's great. But if it takes 10 or 20, then that's part of the process.
That's deep. That's deep right there, Ste-Mo. I like that one. That one good. That one was good. Mine comes from, UFC fighter, former MMA champion of the world, Mr. Conor McGregor. He says, the more you seek the uncomfortable, the more you will become comfortable.
In the end, the success will show long term. So just continue to keep rising up. And most importantly, we want to make sure at the end of the day, you guys stay level-headed and make sure that, hey, you never know, your dreams can turn into reality.
Exactly. That's why here at Up Top, we tell you, we want you to rise up to the top. Even when you feel like you're rising down, stop. It's okay to take a step back. Think about it. What's going on? What's wrong? Where did I go wrong? Where can I fix it? What lesson has been learned?
Facts.
So at the end of the day, when you're done and you figured out what you need to figure out, it's time to rise up.
Yeah.
And once you rise up, keep rising.
Yep.
You don't need to look down. Looking down gets us where?
Yeah, it doesn't get us anywhere.
So what we say, up
top. That's what it is. And that's why, we're happy to actually go ahead, start off season 5, giving you guys, again, a great motivational quote and inspiration to live by. Of course, like I said, we love to get everyone's feedback, opinions, comments, whether it's just anything that you want to just consider. Again, you may not even know as much sports, but you want to learn something from us. We love to hear your feedback and appreciation. It means a lot to us.
Yes, it does. Here at Up Top, we really appreciate you guys tuning on in. We would love for you guys to comment. Please let us know how you feel. Good, bad, or ugly. I promise you, we will read it. We will even comment back on it. We have no problem doing so. Because at the end of the day, we're always here to give you the latest and updates.
Yep.
But we're also here to keep it up top as well.
Yep.
We'll keep it 100 with you. Even if you don't like what we talk about, we're okay with that too. Because at the end of the day, it's all about up top, we said.
Yep. There you go. Definitely. We appreciate it. We definitely want to go ahead and also give you guys some shout outs. It's been an impressive run, especially being able to hear your feedback and actually share your feedback with us in the last 4 seasons. And then season 5, we want to just give you guys a great shout out, especially for those who actually stuck with us from day one. I mean, we definitely appreciate y'all. Shout out to you guys, the fans, especially those who actually are watching us each and every episode or listening to us on all streaming platforms. We really do appreciate it.
Thank y'all so much. So shout out. I'll go ahead, no problem. Shout out to the family, shout out Mom Duke, shout out Pops, shout out Little Bro, shout out Tsunami Sounds. Now, special shout out to the wife. Special shout out to my wife, love her very much. And special shout out to our beautiful son, Shane. Daddy, love you all now and forever. We will keep on doing this till we make it up to the top.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to everyone that's been holding us down. Shout out to our friends and our close peoples. But at the same time, shout out to Ste-Mo and shout out to the Up Top crew. Up Top was set.
Definitely, man. We appreciate it. Definitely, and want to go ahead and shout out my Lord and Savior first and foremost for giving us the opportunity to share this platform with y'all. We're blessed to be able to continue to give you guys good knowledge of sports, as well as to make sure that you guys are actually continue to support us in everything. There's so much more that we can do, but we can definitely shout out first and foremost also my fam. Shout out to my fiance as well. Also supporting. Definitely should shout out to all my friends. That are actually striving for success out there in life. We're all getting older, but each and every day we just have a lot to be thankful for. And, we just celebrated Thanksgiving, man, Spacely.
Exactly.
So a lot to be thankful for. We want to definitely shout out to those who actually have collabed with us in the past. Shout out to Kaj Media Group, Kamar.
Yeah. Big shout out to Bianca.
Yes.
Appreciate you. Keep doing your thing out there in the sports reporting world.
Yes.
We'll see you out there.
The Liberty actually won, Spacely. So shout out to the New York Liberty.
So shout out New York Liberty.
Yes.
Oh, and I found out LA is in a tizzy right now because Dodgers just beat the Yankees as well.
Shout out to the LA Dodgers. Definitely they won the World Series as well. Definitely give them their props for beating the New York Yankees. So shout out to them for taking it all the way almost to 6-7 games actually. So impressive to see them do their thing. But definitely shout out to also those that actually are really putting themselves out there, in all aspects of life. Again, it doesn't have to be playing a sport, but, in your career or anything that you're trying to achieve in life, we want to continue to uplift you guys. So up top we say, all the time. And, again, we want to definitely go ahead and continue to prepare for this season of so much in store. We love to definitely go ahead and give you some new insight on what's to come in Up Top Podcast. And, of course, we're always going to make sure to give you some surprises as well. So you never know.
Be on the lookout. That's what we said. So tune in. Please subscribe. Follow us. Let us know in the comments as well to what you would like to hear. Is there a certain sport that you would like for us to look up and watch? Is there a certain sport that you would like for us to look up and give us a take so it can broaden the horizon of the sport?
Absolutely.
Let us know here.
Yeah, we're on IG Live, as you can see, and we definitely want to just go ahead and make sure y'all also follow us on all streaming platforms. Not only just Facebook, but also Instagram, Up Top Podcast. We're also on YouTube. You can look us up on there. We're also on Spotify. We're also, if you want to listen to us, that's fine. But we appreciate all subscribers. We appreciate, again, all the love that we're receiving each and every episode. We appreciate all the people that take the time to watch our stories and just watch, what's going on in the sports industry. So much is what's going on, Spacely. We just have so much to talk about.
Ste-Mo, you're not lying there. If it's not football, it's basketball. If it's not basketball, it's a little bit of baseball. If it's not baseball, it's a little bit of soccer.
Yeah.
If it's not soccer, we got something overseas. Who knows?
Right.
Let us know in the comments below. So stay tuned. Yep. Who knows? We might find something about cricket. Who knows? You might find something out there about water polo. You never know. Or lacrosse.
Oh, shout out to that breakdancer that retired as well. I mean, I don't know if you guys heard, but shout out to that breakdancer. I don't know the name, but she retired from breakdancing in the Olympics that had transpired. And boy, that was something else to watch.
That was probably the best thing she had ever done in her entire career. Man. Because who told her that those were breakdancing? Because to this day, we've seen a lot of movies where you had breakdancing competitions. You got your You Got Served, you got your Step Up movies, where those movies are basic dancing movies. And not one time did I see a breakdancer do any of the moves that she did. So to me, in all honesty, it's the best thing she did by stepping down.
Yeah.
Because it goes to show you what are the requirements to become an Olympian breakdancer. Because if that's the requirements, I believe anybody, and I mean anybody, could be an Olympian breakdancer.
Facts.
So shout out to her for rising up above herself and putting down the breakdancing for good.
Yeah, I mean, it was once in a lifetime moment. So hey, Spacely, she made sure she let her name be known by breakdancing out there in the world.
And I'm thankful for that. She can put it down now and she can focus on what's more important.
Of course.
Whatever that is she needs to do in her country to be happy and successful, that's what she should focus on.
Absolutely. And definitely shout out to everyone that's celebrating the holiday season.
For sure.
We want to definitely wish you enjoyable holiday season. So much more in store as we going through this season of thanks. And, episode 1 was a success. We appreciate you guys taking time to listen and watch us, especially in all platforms. So stay tuned for more of episodes to come, and we definitely want to give you guys your latest news. So it's your boy Ste-Mo.
And it's your boy Shaun Spacely.
And it's Up Top Podcast, episode 1. We out.
We out.
Let's go.